See, what we are not going to do, we are not doing this today. And you know, it's about time. It is about time that something is finally being done about this. What are we talking about? We're talking about the Spirit Airlines that had to enforce their new dress code because some of us don't have home training. We have whole grown women out here walking into the airport looking like they just rolled out of bed, or worse, that they belong in a brothel. And then when you tell them, ma'am, unfortunately, you won't be able to board the flight like that, they are confused and upset, and they can't understand why this is a problem. So we need to talk about the lack of two things. One, the lack of self-awareness, and two, the lack of home training. We're going to talk about it coming up next on Unshakable with April Chapman. Welcome to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I am your host, April Chapman, and today we are going to unpack the Spirit Airlines debacle, right? They've put some much needed respect back into public decorum, and unfortunately, the internet, or should I say, the Shaquanas and the Boomshikas, they cannot handle it. And so we're going to talk about that today. Recently, Spirit Airlines, actually it was about 5 months ago, they implemented a dress code because it was becoming a problem. And it was becoming a problem because people were boarding flights with, whole booty cheeks hanging out. It was so bad that they had to implement a change in their entire corporate structure. Now, before y'all come for me talking about, April, it's important for women to be able to express themselves. Let's be clear. We're not talking about, a sundress or some comfy leggings. No, that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about women who show up to the airport in booty clenching short shorts, like really short shorts with the whole behinds hanging out, and a bathrobe. Did you hear me? Booty shorts and a bathrobe. Key word in the sentence is a bathrobe. Like, this is an airport, a public place, a place where individuals gather to catch a plane to get from point A to point B. This is not a spa. This is not a sauna. This is not your home or a hotel room. This is a public place. Why do we have to explain these things to you is beyond me. But we're going to talk a little bit about why we have to explain these things to you a little bit later. But in the meantime, I want you to take a look at what actually happened. Take a look at this clip.
And out the top at 10, a woman says that she was not allowed to board a Spirit Airlines flight in Miami because of what she was wearing. Tonight, she is talking only to CBS News Miami. Good evening, I'm Jim Barry. Back in January, the airline announced it was cracking down on passengers who it considers inappropriately dressed. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joins us live tonight from Miami International Airport. So Anna, how did this lady describe exactly what she went through today?
Well, Jim, this passenger, she reached out to us and she said that not only was she not allowed to board her Spirit flight, but she says her sister was arrested.
Your boarding pass, please.
As Tanasia Greyer approached the Spirit ticket counter, tensions quickly grew. She was just told she wouldn't be allowed on her flight back to Chicago.
I'm right here. You need to get out my face. You don't have to address me like that. You can say whatever you need to say from right there. You don't have to get in my face. You don't get to tell me what to do. And you don't get to tell me what to do.
Greyer says it all started over this outfit she wore to the airport. She says she wore similar shorts while traveling on a plane to Miami on Sunday.
And these are just regular shorts. This is how I walk through the airport. This is how I walk through the airport with these shorts on. With my robe. This is exactly how I have my clothes.
She says her luggage made it onto the flight, but she didn't.
I have my robe on. We were getting ready to board the plane, and the lady at the front desk, she stopped me and said, "You're not getting on a plane like that." So I looked at her and I said, "Like what?" She said, "With those shorts." I said, "Everybody here has on shorts. What's the problem with my shorts?" And I've been in this airport for 40 minutes with my shorts and my robe on, and nobody addressed me about my attire. I'm confused. This is crazy.
That voice in the background is Greyer's sister. Jessica Kordolewski. So first, Tanasia says she can't get on her Spirit flight because of her outfit, and then, to make matters worse, she says her sister is arrested for disorderly conduct.
They treated me like a real criminal.
Back in the 1950s and 60s, air travel was a more luxurious and glamorous experience. Passengers dressed in their finest attire. But today, most people in the airport sport more comfortable clothing. We showed other flyers Grayer's outfit and told them she wasn't allowed on her Spirit flight.
Honestly, I don't think that's fair. I feel like every girl, no matter what they're wearing, should be able to express themselves.
Honestly, it's not even bad. The fact that she got kicked off the flight for that is pretty crazy.
As for the sisters, they say they caught another flight back to Chicago Thursday night.
I'm going home. Getting on a flight and going home.
Did you get
done with Miami? We ain't never coming here again. Miami.
And we reached out to Spirit for comment on the situation, and they provided us with this statement saying, in part, our records show a guest was not in compliance with her contract of carriage and refused to comply when provided the opportunity to do so. The guests and their travel companion were eventually denied boarding after displaying disruptive behavior. Now, Grayer says that they got a flight home from another airline, and she says she did wear a different outfit because she didn't want to have any more trouble. But for now, reporting live from MIA, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
So basically, you got an opportunity to see what happened. Basically, a young woman who, because of a lack of home training, a lack of self-respect, a lack of self-awareness, tried to get on a plane with her booty cheeks hanging out in a bathrobe. And as you can see from the video, she admitted that she was confused. I don't understand what the problem is. Well, that's part of the problem. How is it that you have managed to get through life at the age that you are, and you don't understand the problem of being out in public with a bathrobe on and short shorts? With I think the part for me, it's the lack of self-awareness. The entitlement of many individuals in this generation and below, and not just this generation, it is a social phenomenon that we go from people who dressed like what you saw in the clip in the 1950s. I mean, where you put on your Sunday best because you were traveling and people outside of your community would see you. And it was just an opportunity for you just to represent yourself well. And also, I would argue that how you dress and present yourself to the world is a reflection of how you view yourself and what you want the world to know about you. And so if you show up to the airport dressed well, and it makes you, the way you are dressed oftentimes is a reflection of what you feel about yourself on the inside. So if you want to project professionalism and poise and style and grace, then you're going to wear something like that to the airport. But if you also want to reflect that I don't give a darn, I don't care what people think about me, because this is just not that serious, and I want to, I understand wanting to be comfortable. But there's more than I just want to be comfortable, because you could wear a nice little lounge set, a little warm-up suit, and that would say that I want to be comfortable. It's another thing to say my butt is hanging out and I'm in a bathrobe. It signals that I am not aware of my place in the world, how I fit in the world, how the world perceives me, and what I'm projecting out to the world. I think the part that concerns me the most is the lack of self-awareness. Like, how is it that you don't know that people are looking at you and they're staring at you, not because they're admiring you, but they're trying to figure out what in the heck you were thinking by leaving the house that way, and who taught you or led you to believe that this was appropriate. I know these are the things that I'm thinking when I am at the airport and I'm sitting at my gate. Sometimes, you're just sitting there and you're waiting for the flight. And you're people watching, because people are walking by, and you will see depending on the airport and the city, you will see some of the most crazy and outlandish things. And I'm not going to lie, I am sitting there and I'm judging you. I'm judging you because I'm trying to figure out, where is your mother? Where is your mother? Where is your mima? Where is your nana? Where is your old auntie that is in your life to tell you that you look crazy and you're embarrassing the family because not only do you look homeless, but you look like a homeless prostitute. Like, it's one thing to look like a prostitute, but then a homeless prostitute, that's not a winning combination. I have seen women who they not rocking their summer body, right? They rocking some other body, but it's not their summer body. And I'm talking the fupa, the guts. These are some of the most out of shape, nasty looking women. There it is. I said it. And the gut is just spilling over out of the shirt because the shirt is too small. And then they wear the shorts where the butt cheeks are hanging out. And in fact, this past week, when I landed in Atlanta and went to the bathroom, I saw a whole crew of orangutans, like a harem of them. They were in the bathroom recording themselves in the mirror twerking. Like, they were recording themselves turning their backsides to the mirror, and they was getting it in, just tooting it all up. And I stood there because I'm trying to pass, and I'm just like, I'm blinking like, and y'all know my outside face is not sanctified. And so I'm sure the look on my face led on to what I was thinking. But I know I whispered louder than I probably should have. I was like, oh, so this is what we're doing. Oh, okay. Alrighty then. Like I said that because I'm like, I cannot believe what is the end goal? What is the end goal to walk around this way? It can't be to get a husband, because that's not how it's going to happen. Now, you will get some attention, but it's going to be the wrong kind of attention. I'm just trying to understand the cultural shift. When did it happen that told us that it was okay to look as trashy as possible, and then to take that behavior into the public square and celebrate it, like to put it on display for all the world to see? I don't know when it happened. The thirst trap culture, the Instagram, I don't know, but it needs to stop. But I wanted to highlight, like I said, the two things: the lack of self-awareness that these women, you saw it in the video. This woman stood there and said, what is wrong with what I have on? What's wrong with my shorts? There are other people here that have on shorts, but what is wrong with mine? I don't know if it was the ignorance of the moment. Like, is this woman legitimately ignorant, meaning she's lacking knowledge and she doesn't know that traveling this way is drawing attention to her, but not the right kind of attention, and that, I don't know, secretions and juices could slip out of them shorts because they were so short. Like, I'm not even trying to be nasty or crass, but when these women sit down, they leave residue behind them because it's not a whole lot of fabric in between them and their cookies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that she stood for the camera. The news, I don't even understand how this woman doesn't realize that the news was exploiting her. She is standing for the camera and saying, this is the exact robe I had on. It was a bathrobe. And she was like, I was walking through the airport just like this. I mean, she's like loud and proud. Like, just dumb with it. I'm just saying, I don't understand. That's the lack of self-awareness that I'm talking about. Where does that come from? That you've lived on Earth. Yes, I said Earth with an F. You've lived on Earth this long, and you don't know that it is unseemingly appropriate for you to wear booty shorts and a bathrobe as a clothing choice. Who told you that this was okay? And why is it that you lack the self-awareness to not be embarrassed about it or be ashamed or realize that this is really something that I should be wearing in private and not in public? So it's the lack of self-awareness, and then the home training. I blame the mamas for this. My mother is 82 years old, and even with dementia, if she saw me about to walk out the house with the bathrobe on and some booty shorts, she'd be like, "Where are you going? Surely you..." My mother would have an issue if I walked like that to my mailbox. She'd be like, "I know you're not walking to the mailbox like that. That is crazy. What if someone were to see you?" Like, in my mother's mind, it is unconscionable for someone to see you with your inside clothes on, wearing it on the outside. So conversations about personal grooming and appearance were a part of my childhood. Wearing slips and stockings. I know we don't, it's hot, I get it, but hosiery, maybe we need to bring hosiery back. I don't know. Maybe we need the, I'm just saying, mothers and grandmothers used to teach their daughters these things. But for some reason, it is a lost art now. And young ladies do not know the standard rules of engagement when it comes to personal appearance and when you go out, the difference between outside clothes and inside clothes. And lingerie and, clothes that are supposed to be worn for public consumption. It's like they don't even know the difference. And so this has had a negative consequence and influence on society, because now if you're a parent and you have young children, you almost have to close their eyes at the airport because you don't know what they're going to see. They're going to see somebody standing there with their butt hanging out who didn't get the memo that this is appropriate, this is public indecency. It's like they don't know. They don't know the rules, and it's because they don't have any home training. They don't have any home training. Their parents they was raised wrong. Okay. In essence, that's what I'm saying. You was raised wrong. That's why you don't know how to act. I believe a lot of these individuals being raised improperly, i.e. being raised wrong, is why the culture is going to hell in the handbasket, because we don't have adults, fully functioning, well-adjusted adults that function in society in a proper way. And so now their offspring, the generations of bastards raising bastards, and fathers who be like, "I'm not letting my daughter out like that." Well, you ain't got no daddy in the home. You ain't had no daddy in your life. My dad wasn't even around as much as he should have been. And there were certain things that my father would say to me that made me realize when something was inappropriate. For example, I will never forget my 5th grade class pictures. My school pictures in the 5th grade. I took the pictures, and this is in the 80s and the 90s when they had props and stuff, and they had like the little wicker chair, and I was posing with my hands over the wicker chair. And the one detail that my father picked out, my daddy said? He said, he looked at the picture and he like, "Is your nail polish chipped?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't have time to redo them." He was like, "Don't you ever let me see you walking around with chipped nail polish." He was like, "Your hands look nasty. Don't do that no more." Like, it made me feel bad. And to this day, I'm still self-conscious about my 5th grade school pictures, and I don't show nobody because my father said, "Your fingers look funky because your nail polish was chipped, and you shouldn't have took that pen. You should have took the time to redo your nails or take the nail polish off altogether." Ever since then, you ain't gonna see me out with chipped nail polish. Now, they might be different colors, right? But they ain't gonna be chipped, because my father set the standard that it just did not look ladylike for a woman to be walking around with chipped nail polish. And now that's something as simple as that. But we went from that to now booty cheeks and bathrobes, and women don't realize that that's inappropriate, and they should have some restraint in that area and not wear stuff like that. And so this individual, she starts to lash out when she's told that she can't get on a plane, and then her sister, both together, exhibit the ratcheting behavior that really sparked the controversy. And so when Spirit Airlines said, "Today, ma'am, no, you're not getting on a plane like that," this woman acted as if her constitutional rights had been violated. Now, I'm arguing this is not oppression. This is not, someone trying to suppress your humanness. This is about, there is a dress code. It's a guideline. It's called, this is a company that have put rules and boundaries in place because some of y'all, you either do not have home training or you have mothers or don't have mothers who taught you how to act and how to present yourself in public. So now the airline has to step in and do what your mama wouldn't do. And that is sad. And it's very shameful. But this is the ratcheting culture that we're living in. For the record, in a ratcheting is a female imbecile who cannot manage her misery. And so because she can't manage her misery, she exhibits behavior that's imbecilic. She shows out. She takes personal offense at things that should just be standard common practice. And her life, her actions, her behavior, and her worldview are completely chaotic. So when you see them arguing, going back and forth, talking about get out of my face and you don't have to tell me what to do, and they buck at authority, there's this whole catalog of behavioral characteristics that come along with your ratcheting behavior. And this is what you saw in that video. Now, quick story for you guys. I've been traveling a lot. I've been traveling a lot lately, and in my company, Standard House Media, which is the company that powers this podcast, it requires me to travel. So in my professional capacity as a YouTuber and content creator and commentator, I am in the airport a lot. And I am grateful for this one piece of mentorship and professional advice that was given to me when I really started, when my platform started to grow and I started to have to travel a lot. I was reminded by a client of mine that not only do I represent my brand, but I also represent my family. I represent, whether I like it or not, I represent the ethnic image of today's Black woman. There's so many things that I represent. And so you'll notice that when I travel, if you see me in the airport, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm just giving you guys an example of the effort that goes into what I wear when I am traveling and how I show up in the airport, because it matters. First of all, you don't know who you're going to see. You don't know who's going to see you. And two, what you want people to recognize is that where I'm going is important. I want to be there, and I will sacrifice personal comfort for an image that I am projecting to the world because I want the world to experience me a certain way. And so when I'm at the airport, gate agents and the gentlemen who work through TSA, airport security, everyone shows me deference because of how I show up to the airport. Whether they know who I am or not is irrelevant. When I get out that Uber and I walk into that airport and I'm walking confidently, like I am walking like I have a destination, and I have on either a nice pantsuit or I have on a nice dress, I have on a nice little heel or wedge or a sandal that is serving a double duty as style and comfort, it matters. I can't tell you how many times I've been able to get through airport security faster because when they see me, they're like, she's important. She is someone that is to be respected. She is someone that we're going to show deference to because she took the time, care, and attention to show up to the airport and to present herself in a way that is worthy of certain treatment. And so it is not oppression. It is not oppression to take extra time to care for yourself and put time and attention into your personal grooming so that how the world experiences you is a positive and pleasing and pleasant experience. And so this is not oppression, y'all. This is a dress code that Spirit Airlines had to implement because too many people were showing up to the airport looking like they just got drugged out of bed. And it's shameful and embarrassing. I can't tell you how many times I've been at the airport and I've seen, it's almost like that is like a hood rat, a ratcheting uniform. I have seen chicks with a whole bathrobe on, the bonnet on, slippers on, I mean, their butts are hanging out, their stomachs are literally not just exposed but hanging out because they fat and out of shape. It's just nasty. However, back in the 1950s and 60s, air travel was a luxury. It wasn't something that common people just did often. And so because it was this luxury, people dressed with dignity. They had coats, they wore hats, their shoes were polished. But today, no, we got people boarding planes looking like they just rolled out of a club. I don't understand why I have to tell you this, but y'all, the airport is not your living room. It's not your living room. It's not the club. It's not Instagram. It is a place of shared space and safety protocols, and what you wear should reflect that. So can we please bring back the era of self-respect, or even if it's just for a 2-hour flight to Chicago, can you put some clothes on, please? I'm just saying. Now, the real issue here is where delusion meets entitlement. Okay? Because if we're honest, the issue isn't the shorts. The issue more so was the attitude, the ratcheting behavior that was exhibited when the gate agent said, "You can't fly like that." Instead of her saying, "Okay, let me throw on a hoodie and some jogging pants. I'm sure there's something in my suitcase that I can wear to be in compliance." But no, instead, what did you see? A ratcheting behavior. You saw open rebellion. This grown woman chose violence verbally. She chose verbal violence, entitlement, disruption, chaos, and then a sister exhibits the same behavior and got herself arrested. And so, no, I don't feel bad. No, ma'am. This is what happens when accountability gets canceled and you start rewarding rebellion. Everyone wants the freedom to do whatever it is the heck they want to do, but nobody wants the consequences. Hear me clearly. You are free to dress however you want. And this airline, Spirit Airlines, has the right to say, we restrict air travel to individuals who walk out of the house like they just crawled up out of bed. Okay, like they just came down the stairs for their morning coffee, got the butt hanging out and a robe on and some slippers. You're free to dress like that. You just can't get on the plane. You don't get to flash the world and then cry when the world flashes back with repercussions. The repercussion is you can't get on the plane. Now, what I want to do now is I want to talk a little bit about the idea that women believe that because a corporate policy is putting some guardrails in place, that this is about controlling women. And as a woman, I want to say that this is not about controlling women, but it's about helping women whose mothers obviously failed in this area and didn't teach them this, that this is about how you carry yourselves and how the world is going to interact with you based on how you carry and present yourself. Okay, so what you wear is a reflection of yourself, your personal style or values and home training. And so I think it's important for me as a woman to say, this is not about them controlling women. We're saying that you can wear whatever you want. However, a public facing business that has to experience you, it is sad that they are the ones that have to put the guardrails and the boundaries in place because your mother failed to teach you that how you present yourself to the world is a reflection of what's not just going on inside, but how you were raised and how people are going to perceive you. Self-expression, I get it. Self-expression is important, but the question is, what are you trying to express? So if the airline is saying you need to put on some pants, you need to put on some pants. So here are my final thoughts. This is bigger than the shorts. This story of Spirit Airlines actually enforcing their dress code isn't about one woman's shorts. It is about a culture that has lost its shame. It is completely denigrated its own standards and abandoned common sense. We're raising a generation that believes that anytime you try to limit their behavior, that is oppression. And then they believe that public nudity is empowering. I am here to tell you that that is not true. No, sweetheart. Sometimes you are the problem. Sometimes no ma'am is a holy and righteous rebuke because no one in your life has ever said it to you. Spirit Airlines might have done more for cultural modesty and self-respect than most pulpits have done all year. And we need to let that marinate, because that's an indictment on the church and an indictment on modern femininity as a whole, that women don't understand how to present themselves to the world in how they dress, so much so that they think it's appropriate and okay to come out the house in slippers, booty shorts, bonnets, and a bathrobe. And so I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think that Spirit Airlines is finally cracking down and implementing the dress code that they put in place about 5 months ago, and that this is a good thing, and that they need to do it more, and that if they did it more, then perhaps the Shaquanas and all the other Ratchetains to show up to the airport, the gate agents might save themselves some sanity, because them cracking down, eventually these people will get the hint and self-regulate? Or do you think that this was completely out of line and oppressive for an airline to say that you can't wear, shorts and a bathrobe on a flight? I'm just saying, there might be people out there that say, this is unfair and people should wear what they want. But my question is, how do you suppose that we live in a well-ordered society if people are allowed to do whatever it is that they want to do without restraint? I'm not saying you can't dress like that, but what a private business is saying, when you buy this ticket, one of the terms and conditions of buying this ticket is you need to look the part and you need to dress the part. And booty shorts and a bathrobe is not part of the part that they want you to be a part of. So if you are tired of the nonsense, and if you are watching, you're sick and tired of watching our society kind of swirl in the toilet of low standards, then I want to encourage you to like this video and share it with your tribe. Join us, consider being a member of our Unshakable family, and join us over on Patreon for more content. And until next time, stay bold, stay biblical, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.